Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon season 4 episode 9? And before I even start the review, I want to say that this episode was better than even I expected it was going to be, because I didn't expect the episode to be bad or anything like that going into it. Definitely seeing what happened in the episode, it was better than I expected it to be, because a lot of things that happened in the episode advanced the plot in the arc in general. So yeah, I think it was an episode that was actually great. So yeah, all things considered, a very good episode. So I guess the general theme of the episode is about despair. I think that is one way we could explain the episode in a few words, because all the things that happen in this episode are leading to despair, because we see throughout the episode, for example, Ryu and Bale fighting this snake monster, but of course we know deep in our mind that monster is really not the monster that Cassandra had in her premonition that was going to cause chaos. We know probably that something even worse is coming. That is what I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to explain that throughout the episode, we sort of had this sense of despair, because although they were winning, although they were doing great in battle, we already knew that that was not actually the final thing that was going to happen in the episode. We knew that things were going to get worse from here on out. For example, when they defeated the snake monster, we knew that things were going to get worse, and of course they did get worse. But I guess I should start talking about how the episode started. And the episode started with them two talking it out. In the last episode review, I briefly talked about how there were two possible ways this episode 9 could have started. One of those ways was, of course, by them two fighting it out. And the other way was how it happened in the episode, which was by them talking about the things that were going on, by why Ryu was doing the things that she was doing, if she was really killing the people that everybody else was saying she was killing. And that is how the episode started. So Belle basically asked the most important question, which was if she was killing everyone that everybody else said she was killing. And of course she responded no, which of course Belle quickly believed. And that is something really important to take into account, because of course she confessing that she was not killing the people that everybody else was telling Belle that she was killing is actually really important, because of course that is one of the questions we had throughout this whole arc, if she was actually killing the people that everybody else was saying. But of course, we also have to take into account that Belle believed her, because without Belle believing her, well, this whole thing wouldn't have advanced as much as it did in this episode. They would have basically fought it out. So yeah, it is actually really important that Belle believed her really quickly, because without that, they would have basically fought it out. The plot would have been stuck with them two trying to argue who is right and why they are right and why they are wrong. So yeah, it is really important that Belle actually believed her, because without that, many things would have been stuck in this episode, and many things would have taken place throughout the episode that we saw in this episode take place. But yeah, like I said already, that question that everybody had, that if Ryu was killing the people that everybody else was saying she was killing, was answered in this episode. And of course I already knew, or I already had sort of hints, or I guess you can say that hints, that she didn't actually kill the people that everybody else was saying she was. I guess everybody else that watches the anime sort of had that feeling also, that she was not really doing that, because the people that were accusing her of doing that didn't seem like the nicest people, didn't seem like the most genuine people. They sort of seem like bad people, like people with bad intentions. So yeah, because of that, and because I don't think Ryu is that type of person, well, we didn't believe that she was the one killing the people that everybody else was accusing her, and that was confirmed in this episode, of course. So yeah, that was something important that happened in the episode. The other important thing that happened in this episode was them fighting the snake that appears in the deep floors, which is actually really interesting, because when you really think about it, they are fighting a deep floor monster. So even though they haven't been into the deep floors, they can still hold their ground and they can still defeat the monster. But at the same time, you can also twist it around and say that they are struggling this much with this single monster of the deep floor. So when they get to the deep floors eventually, they are going to struggle a lot, because even though they only fought one of these monsters, they still struggle this much. So yeah, definitely take that into account, because eventually when they get into the deep floors, they will have to be even higher levels, because if they go into the deep floors the way they are currently, I don't think they will last enough to tell the tale, because yeah, we saw in this episode them struggle, but at the same time, I guess you can say that they actually defeated the monster. So I mean, it is here and there where you lie in that. And the other important thing that happened throughout this episode was that of Cassandra not accepting reality per se, because in her premonition we saw that bad things were going to happen and that chaos was going to happen, that there was going to be calamity and things of that nature. And of course throughout this episode we see that they defeat the monster, nobody is hurt, and in general everybody is happy. So of course Cassandra doesn't actually believe this. She's actually in distrust that everything that is happening is not actually what her premonition was about, which is confirmed at the end of the episode, because we see the real villain, if you can call it like that, at the end of the episode appear. So yeah, I mean, Cassandra was actually right in not to believe that the monster that they were fighting, the snake, was the final villain that was in her premonition. She was actually right in to believe that there were more bad things going to happen. And we see Ryu is actually really scared with the monster. She definitely has some history with it, because she seems really scared. She seems like she already knows this monster. She definitely fought it before or has seen it before and caused terrible things to her or maybe her friends. So yeah, that is something that definitely will be explained in the next episode or a couple of next episodes, because there is definitely some history there between Ryu and this monster. Basically Bale, Ryu and this Yura guy are now trapped, because they are going to be fighting this monster. I don't think they're going to fare that well, because I think this monster is going to be really strong. Of course, I don't actually think they are going to die. Definitely not Bale. He's the protagonist, of course, he's not going to die. But of course, that doesn't mean everything is going to go smooth. They're definitely going to struggle, and maybe they're even going to be casualties. So let's see if that is the case. And yeah, I mean, this Yura guy ended up being not that nice of a person. I mean, I guess everybody sort of had this feeling that he was not actually a good person. The tour guide too, they sort of had this aura around them that made them feel kind of evil. So yeah, I mean, it was confirmed in this episode that this Yura guy was basically using everybody to blame everything on Ryu. So yeah, I mean, that is my episode review. I don't know if I missed anything, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you all in the next episode review.